In the cold and endless silence of the north, where the winds carve the fjords like ancient blades, history keeps secrets buried beneath ice, storms, and forgotten sagas. The world remembers the Vikings as raiders, as warriors who carved their way into Europe with axes, fire, and blood. But beneath that fierce reputation lies a deeper truth, a legacy forged not only by war, but by knowledge. This is the story of that forgotten world, the hidden mind of the Viking Age, and the man whose wisdom guided fleets into the unknown, centuries before the world dared to dream of distant continents. The year was 872. On the rugged western coast of Norway, in a village clinging to the cliffs like a stubborn memory, there lived a man named Eirikr Thorsson. He was not a warrior, not a jarl, not a man who sought glory in battle. He was a shipwright, a navigator, and an observer of the natural world. While others lifted axes, Eirikr lifted his eyes to the sky. While others sharpened steel, he sharpened his understanding. From a young age, he possessed a rare gift, the ability to notice what others dismissed. The cracking of distant ice, the strange glow of the northern lights, the subtle pull of the tides, the way ravens adjusted their wings when clouds thickened. To him, the world was not chaos. It was a map waiting to be read. He lived in an era when travel was a gamble with fate. Storms swallowed ships without warning, and the sea mercilessly tested even the bravest captains. Yet Viking ships traveled farther than any civilization of their time, slicing through waters from the Atlantic to the Caspian Sea. And behind many of those journeys was a quiet revolution, one the world would forget. Eirikr's workshop overlooked the water, where longships rested like sleeping serpents, their carved dragon heads facing the horizon. He spent hours studying the movement of the sun, taking notes on smooth driftwood planks, marking patterns, angles, and shadows. He charted the rising and setting points of daylight across the seasons, slowly uncovering a system no one before him had ever documented. But Eirikr's greatest discovery came not from the sky, but from a stone. One stormy afternoon, a trader returned from Iceland, carrying a curious object translucent, pale, and shimmering with a strange glow. The men drinking in the longhouse joked that it was a frozen tear of a frost giant. But Eirikr watched the stone with fascination. When held up to the cloudy sky, it seemed to bend the light in a precise way. This was the moment everything changed. Eirikr spent weeks testing it at dawn, at dusk, in fog, in storms. He realized the stone could reveal the hidden position of the sun, even when the sky was fully overcast. This was the legendary solarstein, the sunstone, a crystal that could polarize light and reveal direction long before the magnetic compass ever reached Europe. While most men of his time believed navigation relied on luck or the favor of the gods, Eirikr began to build an entire system of navigation around the Sunstone One, based on observation, mathematics, and natural signs. He taught his son the art. He taught a handful of trusted sailors, but many others doubted him. Why chase the sun when Odin gives us storms to test our courage? They asked, but Eirikr knew better. He had seen too many brave men swallowed by the sea. He believed knowledge, not blind bravery, would lead the North forward. Eirikr's breakthrough came when a powerful jarl, Hrafn Ironhand, approached him. Hrafn was preparing a voyage into unexplored waters, a journey farther west than any Viking had dared to sail. He sought wealth, land, and new horizons. But he needed someone who could guide him through the unpredictable Atlantic. That someone was Eirikr. When the day of departure arrived, the longships stood ready, painted red and black, dragon heads snarling toward the open sea. Families gathered along the docks, their faces reflecting both pride and fear. Men strapped axes to their belts. Women braided good luck charms into their husbands' beards, and children clung to wool cloaks as the cold wind swept in from the mountains. Eirikr stepped aboard the flagship, carrying not a weapon, but a wooden box containing his greatest tool, the sunstone. As the sails filled and the ship slipped away from the shore, the village faded into a blur of color. Ahead lay endless ocean, swirling fog, and the unknown. Days turned into weeks. At times the ocean was calm, flat as polished metal. At others, it roared with the fury of ancient gods. The waves towered like monsters. The wind sang with an eerie, primal voice. Sailors argued, morale sank, and many believed they were cursed. But Eirikr never faltered. When clouds hid the sun for 8 days straight, the fleet nearly turned back. But Eirikr gathered the men, held the sunstone to the sky, and revealed the faint glowing line that marked the sun's direction. Slowly, faith in him grew. One night, as the fleet moved through a dense fog bank, the world fell utterly silent. No wind, no waves, only the sound of breathing, of wood shifting beneath their feet. Then came the sound, deep, distant, and rumbling, like something ancient stirring below. The helmsmen panicked, convinced they were approaching the world's end. But Eirikr examined the patterns in the fog, and the faint smell of icy air drifting across the water. He recognized it. It was not the edge of the world, it was land. A massive wall of ice. Shortly after sunrise, the fog lifted to reveal towering cliffs of white and blue. Glaciers stretched as far as the eye could see. They had reached Greenland, a place no Norse navigator had recorded before. Yet Eirikr believed they could go farther. After replenishing supplies, the fleet pushed westward again. The ocean grew darker, colder. The stars shifted subtly at night. The birds changed. Eirikr noticed new patterns and adjusted course accordingly. And then, one morning, the world changed. Ahead lay green forests, rolling hills, and rivers glistening under the sun. A place untouched, silent, and waiting. A land unknown to Europe. A land centuries ahead of its time. This was Vinland, North America, reached not by accident, not by wandering, but through Eirikr's mastery of observation and nature. But history would not remember his name. The sagas would shift glory onto warriors, onto jarls, onto those who conquered and spilled blood. Eirikr was a thinker, a navigator, a craftsman. Such men were rarely honored in the age of axes. As the fleet returned home, the tailies began to twist. Raffin Ironhand became the hero. The sunstone became a myth. Eirikr became a footnote. And eventually, even that footnote faded. Yet his legacy endured in silence. Every Viking ship that sailed the Atlantic afterward used the methods he discovered. Every voyage that succeeded did so because of men like him, men who looked at the world not with violence, but with curiosity. Centuries later, when archaeologists uncovered Viking settlements in Canada, scholars began to question how such a journey was possible. They searched old manuscripts, rare crystals, and fragments of sagas until the truth resurfaced. Hidden in plain sight, lost in ice and time. The legacy of the forgotten mind of the North. Today, when the aurora dances across the night sky, shimmering like ancient spirits, some believe it echoes the essence of those who sought knowledge beyond the edge of the world. And on stormy seas, Sailors sometimes report seeing a pale glimmer in the clouds, a flash like light passing through a crystal. A reminder, a signal, a whisper from the past that the Vikings were more than raiders. They were explorers, innovators, and guided by men like Eirikr Thorsson, they were centuries ahead of their time. For in the end, true exploration is not measured in miles, but in the courage to see the world differently. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the forgotten side of history, please like and subscribe for more stories hidden in time.